Welcome back to MadTakeTV. We are here as try to get back on schedule. I'm Jeremy, the face you'll see when you tune into this channel. With me as usual to discuss fun television shows like Daredevil, Born Again, my boy Dre, and here finale for Daredevil, entitled Straight to Hell, and here we are. We kind of got lost in the shuffle there and got behind, got caught up last week, and here we are to discuss the finale for you. So, what's up, Trey, man? How you doing? How you been?
This time only slightly late.
Yeah, only a
I'm
couple
great.
days, right?
I'm great, man. It's been a weird few days. It's the holiday weekend. We had some shit going on, but we still made it to our prospective areas to record this. So I'm good.
Yeah. Got through all the family gatherings and whatnot for the day, and here we are.
That thing.
Yeah,
I just leave it at that.
I
That
know.
thing.
But the episode, man. Any overall thoughts, overarching thoughts? Do you think they hit it? Do you think they nailed it? Was it an okay finale? Did you really enjoy it? Like overall thoughts, what did you think? Think they closed it
If
out
I had
well?
to, if I had to sum it up without going into detail, I would say I think they hit all the right notes. I think that if you want to convey a sense of dread moving forward, they did what they needed to do to kind of put the audience on edge enough to say, okay, I'm excited about what the possibilities are for the next season, but at the same time, I'm not in a bubbly, cheery mood. Like everything is going to be, rainbows and gumdrops. So yeah, they did what they needed to do. I
I
liked it.
think for kind of I don't know if I want to say a mess, but some of the confusion and reshoots there was and rethinking and kind of rewriting of the season. I think the finale was pretty good. I think with all that kind of in play, I think it, like you said, there were some episodes that were a little disjointed, like the bank robbery episode seemed to like fit weird, and a couple of
Yeah.
other things. But the finale, I think overall, I think they stuck the landing a little bit. It wasn't, I wasn't like disappointed. I do like the direction that this is going to go forward in, and I'm curious to see how the rest of what happens in between now and the MCU, and then when Daredevil Born Again season 2 starts, and like how that's going to affect things going forward, and if it does at all. Then I didn't
I
see too
don't.
much MCU influence in this show, like where it was like, oh man, this happened, so this has to be this way in Daredevil. It was just Daredevil. This was a centralized story, and I think they kept to it. And
I think I went to the theaters to see Captain America and the Brave New World. The major outcome of that was that the world will be using vibranium. That really only affects story wise what two characters, I think. Oh no, three characters like Wolverine, Omega,
vibranium or
uh,
adamantium?
Adamantium. My bad, Adamantium. That only affects what Wolverine. What's the chick with all the little finger? I can't. Oh,
Lady
Lady
Deathstrike.
Deathstrike, Lady Deathstrike, and X-23, and then Omega Red. So four characters. Those are the characters who have adamantium based abilities and enhancements. So I don't see how that would affect Daredevil moving forward. Now I do have tickets to see Thunderbolts as well, and I will be seeing the Fantastic Four. I don't
I probably would go
see any
the
of those actually affecting anything.
well. The
Maybe a new
Fantastic Four, I
story
think,
about the
is
century.
yeah. I don't know about the Thunderbolts, but I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Four is not taking place in the six one
Yeah,
six.
it's a different. Well, we don't know.
Well,
We
well,
know everything we've seen so far is in another universe. So
some of the movie isn't taking place in the 616.
right,
Correct.
yeah,
Right. Right. We're speculation. There's a lot of speculating. Correct.
but
Thunderbolts
heavily
actually
in.
looks pretty good, man. Like the more and more the trailers come out, like when the first trailers dropped, it's kind of like okay, and then the more and more the trailers come out, it's look like they're going to try to take this in a different direction, and it's kind of interesting. I might go see that one to see how they pull that off. Sentry is like one of the most powerful characters they put on the screen so far, so It'll be interesting to see how they pull that off against a bunch of
Yeah,
characters who don't really have any powers.
yeah, and I get it. I got a real quick complaint before we dig into Daredevil.
Go for it.
Hollywood, once again, I'm just addressing you as a whole. I understand you like the NBA, you like the NFL, you like any other thing that has to sell the current product. And the only way to sell the current product is by implying that the current product is better than any other product before, because nobody wants to buy an inferior product, right? So I'm just saying this in perspective. It's kind of like how the NFL always shows you the current players' stats and how they stack up against the older generations. And we supposed to forget that they play more games during the season. We forget that they take away rules with Ronnie Lott could come across the middle and take your head off and shit like that.
The
So
clothesline.
the right. So the receivers numbers are going to start stacking up there towards legendary levels. They super protecting quarterbacks. So now John Elway and Dan Marino and Tom Brady, those records are going to start getting inched towards slowly.
Yeah, it's
And
happening. Well, then when you add more games onto it, that's
you
automatically
add
like
more
going to knock
games and more rules, right?
all the
So
records are
what?
going to get
What?
broken now. Yeah.
So Hollywood, I understand that you have to sell this new product, but when you make the statement in the trailer, it's confusing for the audience who doesn't know any better. So when you say stuff like this guy is stronger than all the Avengers rolled into one, I don't want to be that nerd dude, but he's not stronger than Thor. He's not. Never has been. Canonically, he is not. As strong as he has, as let's not say strength, as powerful as he has been canonically, he fought the Incredible Hulk to a stalemate. He would be one of the strongest people we have ever seen, and the Avengers aren't coming. But in order to sell the product, you can't say we got another big threat on the horizon. You have to say this is the biggest threat we've ever seen. There's nothing like
Right.
no. He would get monkey stomped by quite a few characters in Marvel. So please stop doing it. Find a better way to sell it. Just he's a threat. He's a big threat, and he can't be stopped by the Thunderbolts team as it is comprised in the MCU. So that's a good enough thing. Let's not get into this thing where we try to hype everything up to the level of a Thanos level threat,
I saw some.
because it's
It's
just not
not.
that.
It's not that.
And unironically, they didn't do that for Galactus because I guess they feel like the audience knows. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Galactus and the Silver Surfer are far
The
bigger threats than
the people
the
that
Void.
are into this movie and that have been super waiting for this comic accurate Fantastic Four, they're waiting for they know they're waiting for this comic accurate Galactus.
I am people.
Yeah, me too. I'm there. I'm
I
there.
am the
I
people.
was just as disappointed with the Cloud as everyone else.
Oh
Right.
my god!
Right.
Why did you bring it up?
Does the
But anyway,
I know you never watched Ozark, so the actress playing the Silver Surfer is quite a
mhm.
good actress, but people seem to be bugged by the fact that she's female. I mean,
Okay,
again, done
we're gonna do this.
properly.
We're gonna do this for our future audience. I'll speak directly to the camera. People are gonna start watching this eventually,
Eventually,
and so I'm gonna help them out right now.
please.
Do not take positions when you do not inform yourselves about the
Oh
thing
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah,
taking
yeah, yeah, yeah,
position
yeah,
on.
yeah. Oh, I get
The
100%.
Silver Surfer is not the only herald of Galactus. This is not a product of today's agendas or political stances. The
No,
character has been around since the
it's
1960s.
crazy, man.
This has
It's like
she
no,
has
she
been
was
in the
in the very first appearance of the Silver Surfer. She was there. The
that's
character
his
was there. It's
wife.
his
Or no,
wife
his baby girl, his
or
girlfriend.
whatever. Yeah,
But
whoever it is. But she's been there
she's been around
since the
longer than
creation of the
I
Silver
was
Surfer.
alive. She's not new. They're not trying to get you
No, they're not.
instantly. And this is for the other half of the audience. Do not respond to the online culture of outrage because these people only have a connection in life through outrage. Nobody talks to them for real. Nobody respects their opinion. So they go online and say things that they know are provocative, but these are provocative statements
Sure.
that they can have a community behind them, because we're still animals in nature and we need community. This is how our genetic code is written. We survive in the herd. This is pack mentality. And if I can't find anybody to talk to me in real life, I'm gonna go online. Oh, what's the people will engage with me if I say something like this. A lot of these people don't even plan on seeing the goddamn movie. So
Throughout
why
the
you
internet,
doing
you can exactly a lot of people that complain about things and have these like provocative thoughts about don't even like partake in or watch the you know how many grown men I watched complain about the Snow White movie? Like, why are you going to watch that shit? Go
that?
watch
Because
something else.
that's
Because this
it.
gave him content. It gave him content.
I
I
I
get it.
need
The
somebody
movie
to talk.
probably wasn't that great. Fine, fine. But like this, the amount of content that there was made about the actress and all of this
I'll do you one better. The
about the
story
Snow
of
White
Snow White.
movie, bro.
The story of Snow White was never good anyway. It's not like people
It's
were
like,
sitting
why
around
is
like,
it like okay? So it
bro,
was
like,
it was like the first feature length animated movie was Disney's Snow White.
right.
Fine, but there was just all this like controversy and all this like
But could
I
you
get it. The
imagine
actress was kind of a bitch. Fine,
but
but
could you
like
imagine
really, like
sitting there
why?
with your fingers crossed? Like, come on, Hollywood, you gotta get this one right. This is important. Like, nobody give a fuck about Snow
What Snow
White.
White? Who gives a shit?
It's a children's
I get it. It's
movie. It's
content.
a
Everything
children's
is
show.
content. But
It's
it's a
a
movie.
children's
I'm
story.
sorry. I just
It's
couldn't see like why are you that emotionally involved about Snow
because of what
White?
we said before you start recording.
Yeah.
Because changes to the norm for some people feels like an attack on what they see as their place in society. So unfortunately, while representation for everybody is good, I want to get into Daredevil, but I will say this real quick.
Fine. Yeah.
I
No.
mean,
No. We started the conversation. Roll with it.
real fast. When I took my daughters and my sons and my wife, aka my family, I took my entire family to the movie theaters to see uh, Marvel's The Black Panther, the first one. My daughter had just shaved the back of her head and put patterns in it as a form of self-expression, and she she was staring at the screen when Shuri came on screen, and she saw that Shuri had her hair the same way, and I literally cried. I was sitting
That's
in the theater, I was
representation. Well,
crying
that's what it is.
because I know what it feels like to need some yourself, see yourself on screen. But I'm also mature enough to understand that for some people, they feel like because they've been represented overly so, that a little bit of a balancing of the scales as far as representation goes is an attack. And it's not an attack. I want to tell you this personally. We don't hate you. We just like seeing ourselves too. And it's okay. I need to see Jeremy on screen. I need to see myself. I need to see his family. I need to see my family.
And when those
You know,
characters, regardless of their whoever they're representing, are well written and well represented on screen, it's fucking awesome. When it's
just
fucking
cross
thrown in your
tell me
face and
the
made
story.
a stereotype of the thing that you're trying to represent, that's when it's fucking bad. And it happens. It does. It
This,
happens in movies. It happens
this
in video games. It does. When it's forced
facts.
down your throat, it's bad. But there's definitely been representation throughout the years and stuff that's actually been good. Where you like, man, I really like this character, and I, like it didn't matter that they were
And
black or that they were gay or that they, like it was just a well written character.
and speaking of that, so we could transition back into the
Go for it.
Daredevil series finale for everybody out there under my voice. Go see Sinners if you like good movies. The closest thing I could compare it to, for me personally, would be like thematically and execution wise would be like Quentin Tarantino's From Dusk to Dawn. That's what it reminded me of.
I've heard that
When
comparison, but I've actually heard they almost
somebody actually said
did
that.
it kind of better. Yeah. I
Oh
actually heard
no,
that
no, no, no,
comparison.
no, no.
Well,
They
it was
didn't
like
almost.
it. They
It's
did do
better,
it better.
but you, if you know me personally, anybody who knows me, From Dusk to Dawn is one of my favorite movies of all
Right.
time. So if I'm saying that, you gotta believe it. It's that good. So yeah, check it out. And the representation doesn't hurt anyone. It's just a good story. But anyway,
It's a good fucking
Daredevil.
story. Yeah, Daredevil. Episode 9, this is the finale. It's entitled Straight to Hell.
Straight to hell.
Straight to Hell. So it opens up in a flashback, which we get the confirmation that Vanessa was the one who placed the hit on Foggy. Because he was digging to he was about to win a case that was going to put her business in jeopardy. at the port that everybody's talking about, where this is all kind of culminating, which is the port, the Red Hook, where Fisk wants to build his new legal enterprise.
Yes.
Right.
And they talk about some obscure US legal maritime type laws. And I like that they brought some real life type of, political type of intrigue and conjecture and whatnot into the story, because that is how some ports operate. So this is a port that does not function as an actual space in these contiguous United States of America.
It's
It's
a free
actually
port.
a free port. Yes.
Right. Which is like a key thing in why everybody wants their hands on, or why Fisk wants his hands on it, basically. He wants to be able to basically be operating in international waters, like the cruise ships do. So it'd be like cruise ship rules right down there in New York City. Cruise ship rules. I like that. So then it goes to Matt waking up in the hospital from the injury. They kind of did like a little flashback of the actual thing happening, didn't they? A little
They showed
bit.
a short little flashback.
They showed the shot again. And so Heather's right there. What's the name he says when he wakes up?
He instantly calls for Karen.
For
And when he
Karen.
called for Karen, Heather felt a little bit embarrassed and immediately, I can't remember the young lady's name, but she tried to like make her feel better. She was like, it might be the medication,
Right.
he's under heavy medication, which doesn't help, because it's like even in a sub unconscious state, he's still calling out for Karen.
Right, which means that's who subconsciously is on his mind. Like, yeah, that didn't help, lady. Yeah.
It's like, that didn't help at all. It actually made it worse. But good
Yeah.
try, swing and a miss.
Good try. Swing and a miss. Right. Right.
Yeah,
So
I'm ready.
I just have like a kind of an outline pulled up that I had what was it, Chat GPT pulled up for me. So I don't even know if it's correct. I haven't had time to like overview it. So tell me know if I'm wrong, or if anything that I come across isn't correct, because you got a pretty good steel trap there of a memory. But
Yeah.
so then we get into
Trauma.
Fisk's Fisk and Vanessa's reaction, kind of like basically right afterwards, right? Like they're sitting in their office. He's still covered in blood. She's pacing, like shaking, like fucking drinking. They're trying to figure out, like, holy shit, like that almost just happened, but we're okay, and we're still moving forward with everything.
Yeah.
So, but she, like she said, she was about to tell him.
She was about to confess, and then she went right back into I'm about to confess the thing that I wanted to tell you, but she was interrupted. Somebody walked in and was giving the mayor some new information. I believe this is the point in which they informed him that Bullseye was still on the loose. They hadn't apprehended him, and that Matt was alive in a hospital, but he was recovering or whatever. He was, yeah.
Dude, I mean, so like Fisk is just like he is straight up acting like a gangster. He's like just every episode he's just leaned farther back into being Kingpin, only in the
Oh no,
mayor's office. Right. He's straight up giving like gangster orders, Kingpin orders in the mayor's office.
yeah.
Right.
It's time to take the veil off. There's no reason to be. We're not going to stand on ceremony at this point. It's just, it is what it is.
So Fisk is this the part this okay, so Fisk this is where he declares martial law and initiates his like a safer streets initiative.
Well, he says he wants to announce it at this point, and once again, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is when he once again gets a tiny bit of pushback. Uh, I'm gonna have to remember the sister's name because I always forget it, but she's she's definitely keep. I don't know what it is. She just want to stand behind the 8 ball all her life or something. She just keeps
You're talking about his assistant, the
his
mayor's aide.
assistant. Yeah. So she told him it was like this ain't the thing to do. It was crazy or whatever. But at the end of the day, Fisk is gonna do what Fisk is gonna do, and what he wants to do is declare martial law. I've been shot at. They try to kill me and Vanessa. We shutting this whole thing down. He was informed that you cannot do that without a credible threat to the security of
The city.
um, the
Or
city. And for him, it was like he's in a position of like, this is about me. Now he's fully dropped the veil at this point because he's letting you know right there in the mayor's office, I don't fuck this city. These motherfuckers trying to shoot me, baby.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is that not good enough? And it's like, no, like legally, you can't do that without a credible threat to the city. We can't take those actions. But yeah, he had to be reeled in a little bit, but it only lasted like a half an episode.
Somebody said made the comparison that his safer streets made what's it called? Made the Patriot Act look like a light read or something like that. Like
Hmm.
this is crazy. Like the martial law, the complete anti-vigilante. It is. This is curfews at 8 p.m. You know.
Yeah, well, the thing was, I think that this is what they once again borrowing from reality, especially because he's dealing with New York. So it's akin to, and I think they might have mentioned this in the episode. This is like stop and frisk.
Oh, that's what it
Giuliani
was. I'm sorry. This makes stop and frisk. That's the comparison, not Patriot Act. It was stop and
That's
frisk.
why I was in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this is stop and frisk on steroids, basically, and it's borrowing directly from reality because Giuliani said he was going to war with drugs and gangs. So he said we're going to enact this stop and frisk thing, and basically, if you exist in New York, you could be accosted by the police if they decide to at any point during your daily travels. It in it well, I ain't gonna go into it, but you know what it is if you got any melanin.
Yeah, it created a lot of tension.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep
So
going. I'm
yeah,
with
Fisk is
uh,
martial. Fisk is declared martial law. So effectively criminalizing vigilantes and consolidating his power, so that he like that Buck dude, his like right hand man or whatever. He's the one who asked for the update on Matt Murdock, and he says he's alive and recovering, whatever. And he's like, well, what if he doesn't make it? What if he
what if he
succumbs
gonna
to
make?
his injuries? Better to have a dead hero than a live vigilante or something like that. So he put the hit out right there in the mayor's office. He put the
He
hit
put a hit
out.
out in the mayor's office, and
Right.
it was cool. I mean, I guess it would have been more. it wasn't bad. It was a thing that he did. He knew it was gonna have to happen because he is Wilson Fisk, and he saw opportunity. We got an injured Daredevil laying in the hospital. Let's go ahead and just Matt Murdock will just be another martyr for the city in my cause. I could use him in that way. He saved my life, and now he's gonna help me enact some of the things I want to do. So yeah.
So then, at pretty much at that point, Buck, like, we get some conversation between. Does Karen show up at the hospital? I can't remember. When does she actually show back up, or is that after Daredevil goes back to his apartment?
I want to say she showed up with him and Frank, wasn't it?
That's when I said that she came back. Okay, so then that would have been after the hospital, or after the apartment. So Buck comes to kill.
She pulled up, outside of the hospital.
So Buck comes to kill Matt at the hospital. Just fucking comes there with the teddy bear and shit. He pulls out he's gonna fucking inject him with something, kill him. But of course, Daredevil hears him coming because he can pick people's heartbeats out and shit. So he uses his powers and he dips. Daredevil dips out of the hospital.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is well, I'm not mistaken. This is the scene in which he sent him to assassinate Daredevil, but at the same time sent somebody to, cause a blackout in order to have people go out into the streets and start wilding so that he can declare martial law. Feels like he probably should have waited another day, but but he wanted to go ahead and get that done, and it kind of helped Matt escape because of the chaos in the hospital.
Chaos in the hospital. Matt dips out. He goes back home, only to find somebody there waiting for him, who is none other than the Punisher.
Frank
Castle. Frank Castle. He tells him straight up. He said, "Listen, man, I'm not here to play games with these fucking fanboys. I'm chopping them up." And Daredevil's like, "I don't want that kind of help, Frank."
You can't kill Frank. You can't do it. Here's my thing that's funny.
And then just immediately pops off into murder fest. like
I sent you a text after I watched this shit, and I don't want to quote directly, but I said something to the effect of, I feel like the meeting for this episode was like a Disney exec high off of cocaine or something, and he just like walked into the pitch meeting for this episode and was like, "I got a murder boner, baby. We need." It's like they just was like, just
let them loose.
Blow this shit out at the seams and just do whatever the fuck you want to do. And we more than 5 minutes in, so I feel like I can curse at this point. But no, Frank Castle went ape shit. He went ape shit, and I think he may have replaced my previous favorite kill or injury in the season. My first one was the knee stomp outside of the bank.
Yeah, and the bank robber.
Frank was putting some hurt on some people in this episode.
Bro, these are the task force. They show up at Matt's apartment, obviously, because Matt escaped.
And they let him know, too. Frank made it clear for him. They're not after Daredevil. They came here to kill Matt Murdock. They don't give a fuck no more. It's time out for games. This ain't the time to be happy, tapping people on the head and making them unconscious. We got to kill these motherfuckers. So during the fight inside Matt's apartment, this is how you inject humor. Because Frank is killing the shit out of people. And Matt is fighting for his life. And he like, Frank, don't. And Frank like, look, bitch, please, I'm killing everything in here, man. And oh my god, I love this.
Dude, where was the one where is that the kill you're talking about? Where he said Frank don't, and he was just like blocka.
Yeah, he shot dude on his. But the last guy,
but the camera was like under the counter, so you saw the bullets come. That shit was bananas.
He said something about killing dude, and he was like, "Huh? What about this guy?" Bah! And just shot him again. What about this? Frank didn't give a fuck. He was. So we moved from that.
Though it was so funny, he said it right away.
But we moved from that, and then Matt, they get split up. Good.
Well,
Read the thing because I don't want to skip ahead.
well, it's
Because I
not
kind
very
of
good. That's where I'm thinking. I think it is skipping around too much. It's because the next thing it says Matt, Daredevil, and Karen reunite. So it's like skipping over the whole fight and
Well, they
everything.
did because once they got outside, Karen pulled up in a car, like get
But
in the
didn't they
car.
did okay? But somebody throw a grenade in there,
They threw a grenade in his
and they
apartment.
jumped out of the apartment, and he
They
kind of
jumped
swung
out
them
of the window.
over, and they landed on somebody's car, and that's when they was walking down the alley limping, and she pulls up. It's like get in,
Right.
right? Then they go to Frank's place.
They go and Karen is in there and she's stitching Matt up. Frank is in the mirror and drinking coffee and shit, and pretty much he's doing the stoic Frank, I'm angry and I'm brooding thing, and Karen
But he has
finishes.
a soft spot for Karen, seemingly.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't? So
Fair enough.
she finished patching up Matt, and she goes to Frank and you know tries to help him, and he like refusing, like, no, I'm good, whatever, because he are at this point he's made up his mind. He's gonna kill every officer of the law that he can.
That put on this Punisher thing, yeah.
Yeah,
All the
yeah,
fanboys, yep.
yeah. So he everybody got to go. We not mixing company at this point. Everybody got to go. So Daredevil comes to a realization of some such. I can't. You might have to help me out with this one. I believe the reason why he left Frank's basement was that he was trying to go and save somebody, and that's when him and Karen left. And they was going to look for it. He was telling her about the information that he figured out that it
That
was an
Foggy
actual
had.
hit, Foggy, and that it might have had something to do with the case he was working on, because he remembered that he was drinking a particular liquor that night that he only
Right.
drinks when he was celebrating. So he was drinking in pre-celebration. That means he had to have cracked something in the case. So they needed to go and get his files, his case files. So him and Karen left to go
In
do
the
that.
storage unit. Yeah.
Right. And that's the point in which Matt and Karen had their discussion about him recognizing that she had a little fluctuation of her heartbeat when she saw Frank. And then she kind of set him straight and said, "Did you hear my heart when I saw you?" And he semi smiled a little bit, but at the same time was kind of like brushed it off, like, "Yeah, whatever, it is what it is." But at this point, two things converge. They find the information in the files that they were looking for about the pier and everything, and Foggy was trying to block this thing that Fisk was
This
doing.
is at the
Or
point where they figure out that it's a free port.
yeah, that
She
it's a
pulls it
free
out
port.
and sees it as,
He,
yeah.
he figures out that this was what it was all about, and then the if I'm not, yeah, didn't the police show up at the storage unit? I'm not bugging, am I? Jesus Christ, it's
I
been a
don't know.
long weekend. Well, I know
It
the
has
next
been.
thing that I saw was that Frank Castle decided to go and find that squad, the dirty police squad,
Right.
the ones that was left, because he got quite a few of them in his apartment.
But
I mean, Matt's
there's like a
apartment.
huge amount of them.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's like
dirty
a
police. We
fucking
figured.
army.
So he went over there and he came in and just started murdering. Now, this is the one down that I felt was in the episode. I enjoyed everything. I understand it's comic book logic, and realistically, if people killed the heroes, you couldn't really have the story. But sometimes this is very important. You got to figure out a way for the hero to do the thing that they're trying to do, and have the villains act accordingly. Because Frank went in and he started murdering police, and they had on riot gear because they was dealing with the blackout and the impending martial law order,
Right.
and they had guns still. And instead of shooting them once they had them down, they pinned them down with their riot shields. Now, me as a person whose
Well,
brain
and they were
works,
shooting him. They were actually shooting him with a like a beanbag gun.
yeah, they
They
was
were
trying to
hitting him
subdue
with
him.
the, yeah. They
He
were,
had
yeah.
murdered like 15 cops at that
At
point.
that point, yes.
It's like, no, I don't. And listen, I might be being a little subordinate. I know I'm not in command, but if you told us to subdue him and I watched him kill Jimmy, Jack, Earl,
Right. Right.
Dave,
Right.
and I get him
Dave
down.
just had a kid.
Dave just had a fucking kid, bro. Who gonna take care of this kid college fund? We all gonna have to chip in.
Right.
I'm stumping this motherfucker's head off.
Right.
I'm stumping him until somebody get me off of him. And I promise you, if he's still alive by the time you get to talk to him and fanboy out about him, he's gonna be mentally handicapped. He won't be able to reply.
And see, right, this is where the comic book logic and plot armor comes in.
Yeah, it's the plot armor, man. Save Frank Castle, and I think he's a dope enough character where you didn't have to do it that way. If anything, you could have had him walk in and they all drew weapons, and then he sat down and they had the session where they was trying to talk to him and convince him to like come into the fold, you know. But instead, what we got was them deciding they wanted him alive for some reason, even though.
Well, they wanted him. They wanted him to be their leader. They wanted him to be the.
Wanted to be the leader, but at the point, what I'm saying is, when the episode ends, they basically turn him over to Fisk, and he's sitting in a fucking cage,
Right.
like an animal for the collector. And Fisk, who kills vigilantes, this is what he wants to do. He just tried to kill Matt. He's collecting them now, and it's like, I get it. It's plot armory, but like I said, at the end of the day, that was the one downside I saw to this episode.
That the Punisher storyline could have been handled slightly differently.
With Punisher and Fisk in turn, because Fisk already showed you he was bloodlusted. This man just almost was assassinated by Bullseye. And he sent one of his acolytes out to assassinate Daredevil. You want mass vigilantes gone. You want them dead. I don't want to collect them so I can come in and have dinner and slow Wilson Fiske talks with him every day. But that's what we're going to get in season 2. He's going to walk in there and be doing that. When I was a boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to get about 3 episodes of that shit. Trust me.
Right. And I think we're getting a Daredevil Bullseye team up next season. Lord. Right? They're both on the run now. They're both on the opposite side of Fisk now.
Their interests.
They're going to need their interests are going to align, and they're going to need to team up.
They might help each other begrudgingly, but I don't know. I don't want to call it a team up because
they ain't going to be boys. I don't think they're going to be like, you know what, all's good. No, they're still gonna hate each other's guts, but I think how cool is it gonna be though? Like fucking Daredevil and Bullseye just fucking taking motherfuckers out left and right.
And Bullseye kills people too, so it's gonna be like Frank Castle with less personality. So,
yeah, fair enough.
But what happens is, what we wound up seeing is Matt basically blows the whole thing out at the seams.
He goes to Matt and Karen go to the port. They go to the port where they just had that meeting with the city officials and all that.
Right. But right before this goes on TV and does the announcement about the martial law, the curfew.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, we keeping the city safe. You know, he does the whole thing that they didn't want him to do. But now the city is pretty much about to be a hellscape and a lockdown for the people that live there, even the folks that supported Fisk. So he might start losing support after this. And that's going to play a big part in next season to see how the public reacts to how he's handling, you know, how a threat on his life made him kind of almost turn into a villain again.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to explore that whole thing of how he stay mayoral and kind of slide backwards a little bit on the scale and try to like approach with softer hands, or does he just say, fuck it, man, I run this city? So it's going to be interesting.
I think come on, man. The scene, what he does to the commissioner, I think it pretty much says exactly what's going to happen there. He's going to rule with it. That was pretty violent.
That was bad. Bad.
So there was a meeting. I think we're at that point. I think this is kind of like what happens next. It's like they have that
But
little meeting.
Matt and Karen made it to the port first, right?
I think so, but they're like still sneaking in from the outside, and they see like you kind of see everybody pulling up, and they have that meeting
Right.
in there, and the commissioner just says everything he said at the very beginning. Basically, he's like, you were never the mayor. You always been the kingpin. You never stopped.
That's who you are. That's
This is
what you
exactly who
do.
you are. And what did he do? He just hit him in the throat.
So here's the thing. Here's a fun
Why am I
fact
laughing at this?
here's
But
a
the
fun
way he
fact
was
for the
just like,
folks
just throat chopped
for
him.
the folks who might enjoy the show. And I don't want everybody to be comic book nerds, but somebody has to do it. Kingpin is a martial artist. He's not a fat guy. He's a huge bundle of muscle.
Oh yeah, no,
He
he can fight like
appears
a
to be fat.
motherfucker.
He appears to be fat. He's fast. He's strong, and he's a trained physical combatant. So when he did the chop, that was beautiful, comic
And then
book
he,
accurate type shit.
yeah, fast. Right, and then he walks around behind him and he gives him like the overhand double shouldered slam. Bow, brings him to his knees, and then does it. I mean, this was equivalent to the almost the car door beheading
Oh yeah, this was
from
a
the
one up
original
of that.
season. It one up, yeah. They I
Celebrity.
bet you that was the pitch meeting. How do we one up the car door beheading? Oh, well, let's
We
just
got
have him
we
do it
got
with his bare hands.
yeah, yeah. So Wilson
Fucking
Fisk, this guy's head, and here's the thing that's beautiful about it: he squeezed his head slowly so that he can, well, the audience gets to see the reaction of all of the people in the room. Well,
yeah.
not a room, it was in like a little construction
It was like
area,
yeah.
but they get to see the reaction of everybody that was like the supporters, the reluctant supporters. You know what I'm saying? The people that didn't want to be there, but they had to. Like everybody was standing like, "Oh shit! Like this is some wild shit, bro."
Right. This is crazy.
Oh man, that
Yeah,
was
basically
wild.
just twist dude's head, just crushes it like the mountain
Yeah, because
in Game
because
of Thrones type shit. Just
it smashed from two different directions,
yeah,
and
like
oh,
pushed
that
his
was dope.
yeah. It was a. I knew that dude was gonna bite it very violently.
Yeah, but
From the
he was a dirty cop, and they try to erase the audiences like we not supposed to care that this happened to him, but then he showed that he had some level of integrity, and it was like it's too late. We don't care. Smash his head. Smash his fucking head. We, he had a little bit of integrity, but his integrity only showed up once he was
when it
out
was
of
up,
favor.
right? It
You
was too
know,
late, right? Right.
so
But
nah, smash that man head. That shit was insane. So Matt decides, okay, the city's on lockdown. The odds are against me. I do not have a cellular phone with the numbers of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Danny Rand, Colleen Wing, Misty Knight. I have none of these numbers.
right.
I'm gonna round up an army, and he goes to the bar that started this season,
Yes, Josie's right.
and we see Josie behind the bar. We see Cherry at the bar. We see several uniformed officers who I'm gonna say these are the Star Trek red shirts.
Yeah, and
And
yeah, right. The officers that like that aren't part of the task force. They don't. They're
right,
not on that side of the police force.
they will die in episode 1 of season 2. Unfortunately, we will
Right.
have one of them that will be a standout that will become a cast regular for the season, and they'll die dramatically in or around episode 7 of season
But
2.
if they
This is
do
my
that
prediction.
and make it count, right?
Oh no, they're
Right.
gonna make you like this cop. This is gonna be a good
Hmm.
cop, and then they're gonna show that cop's family. That cop's not gonna have a wife and kids or a husband and kids. That cop's gonna have a niece or nephew,
There you go.
and that son of a bitch is gonna be cute as a button.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And that That kid is gonna look up to that cop like, I want to be just like you, Uncle
Right.
Derek. Like,
Go get him, Uncle Derek. As he walks out the door, sees him for the last time.
oh my god! Now
Right.
here's what would be dope: if one of those cops in that bar with Cherry and Matt and Karen and the rest of the gang had a son named Miles Morales.
There you go.
This, my friend, is how you intertwine the rest of the MCU.
I
That would be
like that.
fucking fun.
That would be dope as
That would
shit.
be, but we both know that's not happening.
Right. So there really
then
is. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Then we move on to the next scene, and this is Fisk and Vanessa walking into his. Let's just call it his. So totally not sexually charged dungeon.
Right.
And
It seems expanded now because that's where he was going.
You have to knock some of the walls down to add some more cages.
Right. We need some room for some more cages.
Right. He has so much room for so many activities. So he walks in, and then we get the pan shot of these cages, and we start to see the characters that he's locked up, these people who are against him politically, and we ended with a shot of none other than Frank Castle in chains sitting in the cage.
Right. So the goon squad turned him over to Fisk, like you said. He ends up in the vigilante cell. So the episode doesn't really end with like this big climactic like battle, per se, but it ends up with like the chess pieces being put in place for.
And we did send it out of order. I apologize for that.
No, it's fine. Whatever.
They showed the cage first, and then they showed Matt walking to the bar.
We see that Heather sides with Fisk essentially. She becomes the head of mental health or something like that.
The deputy mayor of mental health or some shit like that. Yeah. Weird.
So she's completely bought in. This whole thing has completely sent her to the radical end of hating vigilantes.
I don't think so.
You think she's redeemable?
I think that her face in that scene when she got that promotion, she took it more as a threat. I think in that moment, like if you go back and watch,
she realizes that what Matt was saying was right.
She was like, you know what? Even if she didn't realize fully that he was correct, his demeanor in giving her that promotion felt like I'm keeping you right here. You're not going nowhere. And Matt did say that he was using you to get to me. And in that moment, you probably realized, oh, I might be in over my head a little bit right here, because she didn't look too happy. Normally when somebody gets promoted,
she did. She had that second there, and then she did put the happy face on.
Yeah, she played it. Yeah,
she played
smart.
it.
She don't want to get her
she doesn't want to get her head crushed, right? Right. So I mean, other than that, like I think it didn't end on a lot of like huge like cliffhangers, like oh my god, what's going to happen? I think it just set the stage more or less for a very explosive, and get to see Matt going to go down a dark road in this next season, because he's going to have to figure out how to do whatever's necessary to take this city back, and he's going against the mayor. It's not just Fisk, but this is the authority, the legal authority, in the city.
He's no longer a mass vigilante at this point. He's pretty much, in the eyes of the law, just the criminal,
right?
And there's really no ambiguity there. He can't walk the line anymore. Like he might be able to still walk the line between whether or not he harms somebody physically to the point of incapacitation, or if he kills them, but he can't walk the line on like pretending like I'm on the side of the law. The law
is turned against you at this point. And if you really want to look in the eyes of the law, you're the accessory to the murder of several police officers. It happened in your apartment. Like, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next season pans out, to see what characters they bring back in. Like, does Elektra make an appearance? Do we get to see her come back? The hand ninjas, any of that? Like, do we get to see any of that stuff kind of make an appearance, or was that all hated enough in the previous series that they wouldn't bother touching that?
I wasn't a big fan of Elektra, but I did like Stick.
Stick was a cool
I
character.
Stick was
He
a
ends
cool
up dying.
character.
He spoiler alert, he died by the end of that, didn't he? Or no?
If I'm not mistaken, he did. If I'm not mistaken, he did. Here's another real quick fun fact for anybody young who might watch this. If you watch the Ninja Turtles Foot Clan was based on a hand, and Splinter was based on Stick.
On Stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little fun fact. But here's the thing, Jeremy. Let
Sure.
me ask you what your prediction is as
Go ahead.
far as in specific what well not prediction, let's say wish list. If you had to pick three characters that they could add to the roster for Matt's little army, who would it be?
You talking about three? Do they have to be existing characters, or you're
Well,
talking
comic book
about
character.
or comic book characters that involve with Daredevil? Dude, like you just said, like that Miles Morales would be super interesting. I really like that idea. I don't know, man. Like how hard or how is it way out of the realm of this? And is it going too far outside of the street level Daredevil stuff to say Ghost Rider? Say
Why
some
would it?
four, or is he?
A, a Catholic crime fighter with a literal uh
Well, I'm just saying, like, because they try
Satan.
to keep it ground level and not so much supernatural, but they did bring a little more of that into this, like with the amulet. We know that but like Ghost
Yeah,
Rider would be fucking cool, man. Like that would be a
they would
cool
have to.
iteration.
They would have to be a nerfed Ghost Rider because like Ghost Rider could clean up Daredevil's problems in like a really
Right.
short weekend. So
Yeah. Right.
a
Did
quick
you did you
holiday break.
like? I don't know. Okay, and I don't know how far they can reach with like what they own and stuff like that. But like the Agents of Shield, did you ever watch any of that? So the Ghost Rider stuff that they did in that was interesting.
Yeah, they had Robbie Reyes Ghost
Robbie
Rider.
Ray as Ghost Rider. So I kind of liked that character. Wouldn't mind to see him coming back. I thought it's a cool iteration of that. So instead of the motorcycle, he had the big like
Yeah, the
old school Dodge
Charger.
Charger, yeah, or Challenger or whatever it was with the flaming wheels. I thought was cool. I wouldn't mind seeing something
Those
like
things.
that. I know that's kind of far fetched, but like, is it a
Not
ghost? Some
really.
sort of
And at some
Ghost
point
Rider
you
would be
have to
cool.
fold in. We had
If
we
we're talking
had
wish
Danny
list,
Rand. We had Danny Rand in the Defenders with Matt Murdock, and Danny Rand like pulled the dragon's heart out before. So I mean, we can
okay.
do supernatural. It won't take away from it as long as you keep the same overarching feel of the show and don't give us another one of those bank robbery episodes. But what I would say
Well, I
is,
think they picked this direction. I think we're going to see a lot more of the direction that of the current the way it ended up more than we did this season. I think they had to use some of the footage. I think they couldn't go back and start completely over, so they added to more than they subtracted
mm,
from. You know,
but no, for me personally, honestly, I would not. I hate to seem like I'm dumping on the actor. I don't want to see Luke Cage come in to help. It would be cool if they had an actor who can physically portray Luke Cage properly come in, but
we've had this
because
discussion
the
on the podcast as to
yeah,
you
like
like him as
I
an
don't
actor, you don't like him in the role of Luke
Luke
Cage.
Cage, no, not at all. But I will say based solely in the Daredevil universe from the Netflix shows, I would love for him to call Jessica Jones.
I think
I
that
would,
I think she's your number one, like
yeah.
kind of a
I
given,
think
gonna show up at some point.
yeah, because she's the actress has openly expressed that she would like to come back to doing the Marvel properties. Um,
I
but
mean,
I
people
think the
like that
last
show. Jessica
the
Jones, I think, was
last thing,
pretty well received as far as the show
yeah,
goes.
no,
I never
it was
actually watched the whole thing, I don't think, or if I did, I don't remember it.
the last
I
thing
feel
I
bad.
saw her in was a reboot of Orphan Black, and that didn't really catch my attention as well as it should have because I loved Orphan Black. But I would like to see Jessica Jones, and I want to see Iron Fist again. And I know it was unpopular, but I don't know.
Same
I
actor?
feel like
You feel like they
yeah,
want to
the
bring
same
you want? Okay.
I think he learned his lesson
You think
from
better
his approach.
direction and better,
No,
like
it
the
was him.
better overall, like, I don't know, I want to say know how or like of Marvel Studios and like kind of like, you think they could turn him into a better Iron Fist that he was in the actual show Iron
I
Fist?
think no. What I'm saying is, I think the showrunners wanted him to be as good as we wanted him to be. The
Sure.
actor approached. You know, it was reports coming out that he didn't even want to train in martial arts and shit. Like he didn't want to do the things that
That
would have
came
made him a
across
better character.
very clearly on screen.
And on screen, you saw it, and now he's in public saying, "Give me a fucking shot. I want to
Oh, I
do it
didn't know that.
again." Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
He's on, and I kind of believe him. I believe that he can physically pull off the role. If I could believe Keanu Reeves can do martial arts in the Matrix trilogy, I can believe that this guy can learn martial arts enough to pull off this role and make it
Isn't there 4
enjoyable.
Matrix movies, Dre?
No, it's only no. I actually it is. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. It
I
is
was
the
just
Matrix
messing with you.
trilogy. It's the Matrix trilogy, and then it's the Animatrix movie,
Well, I
which
thought
is
there was another one that they just made semi recently.
oh, no. No, you know what? That's called the Mandela effect. I think because you can remember movies like The Matrix 4 and Thor Love and Thunder and Blade Trinity and all these other movies that never existed. Like that shit ain't real, bro. You gotta wake up. You're on the wrong timeline.
We're just.
Listen.
I am. I'm on the right. I'm on the darkest timeline.
But no, yes, no, real talk though. Give me Danny Rand because he compliments Matt in those martial arts scenes. Now you don't necessarily need it because we just saw that with Frank Castle in this last episode. He don't necessarily, but I would love to see some actual martial arts between two martial artists instead of just Matt doing semi martial arts while another guy stabs him repeatedly.
How about the?
So
How about the kill? Or just going back to the fight scene where Frank he was wrestling with the guy by the cabinets, and the other guy was like ducked behind the cabinet, and he just like picked the gun up and
yeah,
shot the guy in the back of the fucking neck. Oh my
yeah.
god,
Nah, Frank was doing nasty shit.
he was
But
doing
no,
brutal shit, and then like
give
sliced dude's throat, like just all
give
cut him
me
all
give
open.
me Danny and give me Jessica. One, because I like Christian Ritter, and two, because he needs somebody with some level of super strength to make a fight between him and Kingpin more entertaining because they seem to be dead set on making Daredevil not a high flying crime fighter. I don't know if you noticed that, but the Man Without Fear Daredevil character that I grew up with, I've been reading the comics since I was a small child. He did do martial arts, but Daredevil was more along the lines of like he's like Robin from Batman. You know, Robin
Yeah, he
is a
could. He's
circus
very
kid.
good,
It's
like at
jumping
doing
around,
flips and
swinging
shit,
and fighting, right?
parkour.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah,
in this show, it's just like it's no disrespect. I enjoy it, but it's starting to feel a
he
little bit
uses the
like what
shit out of that grappling hook in the comic
it's.
books.
Yeah, he never uses it in the show itself. He used it one time. This
It was like at the
no
very
twice.
first. Yeah, it was like at
Twice this season.
the very first episode where he like I thought we were gonna get more of that because they kind of showed it. We're swinging in front of the church window.
I'm excited
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But yeah, he it's starting to feel like what DC did to Batman. Well, in the DC movies, you see Batman is this. The more and more people start liking that dark, brooding tone to the Batman series, they start making the fight sequences more and more close combat. I'm punching people and tripping them and kicking them and shit, and that's cool because he can fight as a character. But Batman is more of a swoop down, use gadgets, and I put hands on you if I have to type of character in the comics. You know what I mean? Well, even in the comics now, he running around with a fucking axe on his chest.
Well, so
But just a
dude,
little, it gets to
that
be
shit is bananas, dude.
like it's
I
brutal,
like Absolute Batman. Go for it.
but no, it's brutal and
He
it's
drives a
close
giant
combat
dump
type of
truck
shit.
as his fucking Batmobile. Yeah, fuck yeah.
But no, it gets to be a little bit too much. Where it's like, okay, I need it to be a little more comic booky. I don't want it to be comic booky in the sense that it's silly, or bright and happy. I want it to be comic booky, like in accuracy. Like I want to see this character do some Daredevil shit. Because the thing about Matt
Right.
is, this is a guy who jumps regularly from buildings and shit, like Spider Man, and
And
swings around on
swings.
ropes.
He sure does. He sure
Yeah,
does.
and it's like I want to see that type of shit while he's fighting because he's capable of doing that, and that shit would be
Backflips and
dope.
like going up on like he could fight a little bit like Spider-Man. What
Yes,
was I just about to say in regards to that type of stuff? I completely lost it. You
that's
know,
cool. I
it
was
is cool.
yammering,
No, it's
but
fine.
yeah, no.
I'll remember in a
Could you
second.
imagine though, just for the sake of my position, big, strong, muscular karate man Kingpin on a rampage, Matt swinging around.
Oh,
Meanwhile, he's attacking from his mobile position while Jessica Jones is physically fighting Kingpin. They throwing each other through walls, punching holes in bricks, all kind of strong people type shit.
fuck yeah.
He could fuck Jessica Jones up because she gets hurt. That's the difference between her and Luke Cage. So this still adds gravity to the fight because Jessica Jones can get her ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
She's strong as shit, but she can get knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's
So
like
then, yeah, it'd be a cool. That's a cool sequence.
I
I see
think
that.
that's a good mix
I
of
think Luke Cage is
style.
coming back no matter what you want. I think that's going to happen. They've already put it in. They've laid the groundwork for it. They've put the Easter eggs in there. I think he's coming. I think they're all coming back. I think we're getting full on Defenders when it comes back. Okay,
Now
here's
speaking,
the point that I was going to get at, and this is going back to the Batman thing. In my opinion, my humble opinion, there were some good fight scenes in those Batman movies. All of them. The different trilogies, whatever. But the best Batman fight scene to me came in the worst Batman movie, which is the Batman vs Superman movie.
you
That
talking
fight
about the
scene was
warehouse fight?
that was pretty dope, man.
You talking about the warehouse fight?
Yeah. Where you beat the shit out of everybody in there, smashing their faces on the ground and stuff. That shit
Ladies
was
and,
dope.
ladies, ladies and gentlemen, this is what me and Jeremy part ways with our likeness and what we find entertainment and entertaining. That scene that he's speaking of is the very scene in which Batman took gunshots, point blank range. And yes, he was wearing a protective helmet that can be bulletproof. But if you know anything about ballistics, that
Well, you
motherfucker would
probably
have been
going to
unconscious.
sleep. Yeah, but
He was
I mean,
been
it's Batman.
unconscious. Yeah, exactly. And that's the
And
defense every
like
time.
no,
It's like, he's Batman.
but wait, and just a few moments earlier in that movie, he got done fighting Superman.
And wait, not no, it wasn't just that he fought him, it's that
I'm listen,
he
okay, and
trained for it by lifting weights.
I'm not right. I'm not saying the movie was good. And
Like
you know why though? You want okay? I'll tell you why I like that scene because it was a direct imitation of the Arkham games,
the video
the
games,
Batman
yeah.
Arkham video games is what that was. Which was to me those were fun, and they were the best representation of Batman on any screen to me was those games.
So to extend the olive branch, I'll tell you
Shout
my
out to Mark
favorite.
Hamill as
Shout
a
out to Mark Hamill for everything.
as a
But
Joker.
but to extend the olive branch, I'll tell you my favorite scene from the Batman versus Superman film. And it doesn't make any fucking sense when they start fighting later
Barely
on
any of
and
that
Batman.
movie does.
But my favorite scene is when Batman is just riding around in the Batmobile, willy nilly, killing everybody with the fucking machine guns on the front of his fucking car, and like he runs into Superman's leg, and the motherfucker spun out. This is the type of shit I'm talking about. I like that. Look, he's super fucking powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Superman, something about that was so dope. He was just like standing there, like, "Look, I done caught your bitch ass out here shooting people with a damn car." He was looking at Batman like a disappointed parent, like, "You dumbass child, you driving around in a goddamn car doing drive-bys, and you supposed to be a damn good guy. I don't think you are a good guy." He
Right.
was just looking at him like, "You know, I'll fuck you up, right?" And
Right.
Batman's face was like,
Yeah.
"He
Pulls
might
you up
fuck
and
me up
puts you
right
in
now."
my sack lunch, bitch. What is this?
Look,
Right.
Batman was looking at him like, he might fuck me up right now. I love that scene.
I've only
Is
watched that
actually
movie. I swear to God, I think I've only watched it once all the way through because it was
Mhm.
objectively terrible. But yeah, there was some funny scenes in it.
That was
Like,
pretty good, man. I like how it was shot. I like the as they say the construction, the body of that shot. Everything about that shot was perfect, man. It was really dope.
but
So yeah, they can do some things right, and then they
I
lose
mean,
all
I'm
logic.
not going completely off track. I'm excited for James Gunn's Superman. I'm gonna go check that one out. That looks pretty good.
I like James Gunn as a director, so sometimes you feel like shit is in the right hands, and you feel like this person might not be capable of letting you down, if that makes sense.
I hope not.
I feel like he's gonna do a good job. Now, in that same vein, sometimes directors do bad shit,
They do.
and we don't see the warning signs. But then in retrospect, you're like, "Oh fuck,
Fuck.
all the signs was there." So I'm gonna shit on the movie that doesn't exist real quick. There's this fictional film that people keep talking about called Thor: Love and Thunder, directed by Taika Waititi. Everybody praises him for Thor Ragnarok. Here's the thing, though. Me being a person who watches movies a lot, and I actually write stories, so if you go and watch Thor Ragnarok in comparison to Thor: The Dark World, the one that everybody hated because of the dark elves, it's the same fucking story. They hit a lot of the exact same plot points. He Taika Waititi made Thor Ragnarok, and we all collectively jizzed ourselves because of the arena fight between Thor and Hulk, which was a beautiful and masterfully done scene. But everything else in this movie was already, they even had the spaceship race going to the portals. They had the motherfucker pretending to be somebody else scene. They had the goddamn oh fuck, I wish I would have wrote this
I
down
see where
before
you're
I
going
started.
with this.
But he literally damn near copy and pasted everything from Thor Dark
Dark
World
World.
and put it in Thor Ragnarok, except for the Incredible Hulk part, which he got right. But the signs were there because Thor was riding on a chair down a tunnel, a la Willy Wonka in a chocolate factory. At the end,
Incapacitated by
well, you're gonna keep harping on that, but
an
that's a different.
electrical
I know
device.
what you're talking about. That's, I would explain that because we explained that before. But here's the thing: the man got to. This is the God of Thunder, 1,500 years old. He has fought other gods. He fights frost giants for fun. He got to the end of the tunnel and he started screaming like a girl. He was like, "Ah!" Y'all remember that from Thor Ragnarok? The
I
movie that
remember.
everybody said Taika was showing you the type of shit that he liked. And then after Kevin Feige trusted him enough and took his hands off and let him make Thor: Love and Thunder, we see what happened. He just made a completely over the top comedy film because he doesn't respect the source material. He doesn't give a flying monkey fuck.
No. And yes, that they butchered Gore the God Butcher, which
They
sucks.
butchered Gore, one of the dopest villains ever. But I mean, bro, he
Seriously.
turned Mjolnir, and fucking Stormbreaker into two sentient comedy props.
Right.
And the
Screaming
only
goats.
and the only thing he took from the fucking comics that was comic accurate was the goddamn the goats. And then he made them into comedy props. Where they just kept every 5 seconds they were just
Everything was
screaming.
comedy. It was so
And
annoying.
it was like,
For a
bro, and he
movie
did.
that should have had a dark overtone like Dark World was a
Yeah.
comedy movie, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy as shit. So yeah, so sometimes directors can give us signs that they don't give a fuck and they will fuck up a franchise. Taika showed us what he was capable of doing, but we were so enthralled with the Incredible Hulk actually fighting Thor in the arena that we completely forgot that this dude is making a comedy he's making a joke every 5 seconds in Thor
Icing was
Ragnarok.
good, cake was bad.
hmm Yeah, it was like it was edible, but then we overhyped it. We
Right.
completely forgot what a good we lost all objectivity of what a good movie was in the MCU, completely forgetting what I hate to get his dude credit because I don't really like him, but we forgot what Josh Whedon did in the MCU. We forgot what Kenneth Branagh did with the first Thor movie. We forgot all this shit. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, it was the spectacle, and unironically, that's what the arena was for in actual the world.
It
It's
was
like a distracted with spectacle. Put
right.
everything in the arena and let's have people fight. And we watched that shit and they act like it was the greatest gift to fucking mankind. In that movie, it was entertaining, but it was
The
composed of a lot
spectacle
of
scenes
ass
are
kicking.
entertaining.
Yeah, as they're
Right.
supposed to be. This is why we still watch the Real Housewives shows.
I
Not
don't.
we, but, you know,
Yeah.
somebody watches that shit. They
Yeah.
wouldn't be on season. They wouldn't be 20 years deep on season 87 right now.
No, listen, I have
Figure that shit
some
out. I don't
some
know about
family
all
members we were talking to about like television shows and this and that. And I you know, because my face has subtitles, sometimes I gotta hide it, you know, or like hide the nerd power level when it comes to discussions like this, you know, because
freaking out, man.
right, they start going on about Love Island or something like that, and I was like, okay, I'll let them have it. And they started talking about, and then she was like, and then in season 3, I was like, wait, stop, stop watching that. Watch Severance. Watch this. Watch anything else. Something with a narrative. They're like, oh no, we have fun watching it. We laugh and we make fun of it. And I was like, okay. I
You're fighting a
said,
losing
I
battle.
know it. I know. I just gave up. I was
Uh,
like, all right.
yeah, you're fighting a losing battle. You know what? It's akin to my enjoyment of WWE and ECW and uh,
Sure.
what's the new one? AWF or ACW or whatever it
This
is.
WrestleMania, as a matter of fact, is on like right now, ain't it?
Yeah, I know. I gotta go. I gotta recatch because of the shit I was telling you about earlier. I was supposed to be watching WrestleMania last night, but I wound up doing that other thing. So I gotta go and watch yesterday's broadcast and then try to catch up with tonight. But yeah, reality show is akin to that. It's like it's
Sure.
mindless fun. I'm gonna watch it. The characters are stupid. The motivations are dumb. It's inconsistent. You know, I just asked my wife one time. I said, so those four bitches hate each other. Why do they call each other's families husbands and all get together and go on vacation together every 2 days? Every 2 days they go to a resort and sit there and argue with each other.
Because it
If
makes
they
for good, or it makes for, I don't know,
this is provocative
mindless.
television for people, and people watch this shit. But it's like if you think about it for 5 seconds, it's near impossible to watch. And for me, it's like when I see it, I'm like, why the fuck? But then I also think about it, it's like, yeah, the Undertaker's brother Kane came back from a childhood burning accident where he thought he was dead and ripped the doors off a
They're
giant cage.
they're
You
they're
know,
stealing storylines from the fucking soap operas, dude.
yeah, so it's like,
Right.
yeah, I'm watching wrestling, so I'm not gonna be mad at you for watching this shit. You know what
Fair
I'm
enough.
saying?
Fair
It is what
enough.
it is.
Fair
Fuck
enough.
it.
But
Fucking Roman Reigns is running around and people calling him their tribal chief. And you got a white guy who says my tribal chief more than any of the actual Samoans. Like that shit's weird as hell. Paul Heyman is always talking about my tribal chief. Like, bro, you know you white, right? Like, those are Samoans, them fucking Polynesians, bro. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, man, fuck it. But yeah, no,
shit.
Daredevil, man.
I'll
I
definitely like
look
this.
forward to
This to
next
me,
season.
this wasn't like the season didn't bomb or anything like that. I thought it was entertaining. I will
It was a
definitely
good
be back
start.
for season
It was a
2. It
good
was pretty
start.
good. Yeah, I thought it was good.
It's a good start, and it set some precedents for Disney Plus because Disney Plus, when they moved, I want to say they moved uh, Deadpool, the Deadpool movie over to Disney Plus. They moved a couple of other IPs over there. They moved the Netflix series over to
Yep.
Disney Plus as well. And the question I had at the time was, will they just move these properties over here so they can gain the audience from the the previous services or whatever, and just like have that walled off from little kids and shit being able to see it, or would they actually move forward with making more mature content or more violent content and R-rated and M-rated type shit? And they showed you, yeah, they showed you like, look, we
Yeah,
willing to go there.
we
We
did it.
willing to go there. We expanding our
We put a
horizons. It's
man
not
crushing another man's head on Disney Plus.
so yeah,
Yeah,
they now the only thing I have left is, do they have some kind of, because they own Hulu. Disney owns Hulu.
right.
So I'm confused as to why they won't put the Family Guy shows on Disney Plus. It's really confusing to me. I've been trying to figure this shit out for the longest because they moved the Simpsons over there
Uh
when
huh.
they got Fox, but they won't put the Family Guy over there. And my thought was, okay, the Family Guy took a lot of shots at Disney over the years,
Maybe that's what it
and
is.
that cannot be the only thing, because when it comes to, like, yeah, you got
Maybe they're
Daredevil
trying
and
to
you
negotiate down
got,
Seth MacFarlane. They're trying to get him to take minimal because of all his shots. They're like, all right, man, we're not giving you the contract.
it could be a possibility,
Something
but I
like
mean,
that.
they're paying them anyway. But it's like, yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
put it on the service.
you
Put
would
it on the
think that the
service.
money made from that would be overwhelming.
I'm an old school dude. I want to go back and watch all the Family Guy episodes, but it's hard as shit to do. You remember, I used to collect all of the DVDs.
I had like the first six
You,
seasons
it's,
of Family Guy on
yeah,
DVD.
you can't. It's hard as shit to even find these things on DVD and
Well,
shit now. And I
and
don't want
then
to
like,
watch
do you
Hulu
have
because
a do
Hulu,
you are you well you have like a nice theater setup, but is there? I know you have a Blu-ray player in there, but like, I don't have a DVD player hooked up anywhere.
no, no, no,
Right.
no. And the thing is, my Family Guy collection was so old. I had it for so many years. My kids would take them and they'd go watch them over at grandparents' house.
I
Now
wouldn't be able to locate them
I
anymore.
have some
Yeah,
cases without the disc in them, so I
sure.
basically don't have them anymore. And
Mm.
I want, if I'm gonna keep paying for Disney Plus, I want to be able to go on that service and see the shit I want. I don't want to watch The Simpsons over.
No,
Respectfully, it's one of the shows I grew up
respectfully,
on, but I don't want to watch it
I've
over. I
tried
want
it.
to watch
I've actually
Family Guy.
tried it, and I didn't make it very far.
Yeah, it's some of the jokes hold up, but for the most part, I think the Family Guy
That's
type of
more.
comedy,
Yeah,
along with
that
South
was
Park, it kind of desensitized me so much to the Simpsons. Feels a little vanilla now.
compared
It
to the
doesn't
shots that
feel like,
the other shows take. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah.
yeah.
So now, so yeah, we pretty much covered all that. You want to see Robbie Reyes, and I want to see Robbie Reyes too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. A Ghost Rider would popping up in there would be cool to me. I
But
can't
that
really think of
level of
anything.
gore, when
I'm
that
not.
level of gore that they willing to put out there, could you imagine a flaming chain just coming out of the fucking sky and
Oh,
someone
dude,
just
people
goes,
would lose their fucking minds. Yeah,
oh my
yeah, people
god.
would lose their shit, especially if they brought back the same guy. If they brought back the Robbie Reyes actor from Shield, Agents of Shield, would be. I think would
Yeah,
be
he
a
was
cool
bad.
addition. Yeah, he was good. I think he nailed it. There was a whole season that kind of focused around him. That was really good. It was probably my favorite chunk of that show.
You should have turned it off right after that season.
You got any? Probably. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you got any suggestions? Anything you're looking forward to? Video games, TV, anything you're looking forward to that's coming up here in the next month or so?
I'm not up to par on everything that's coming soon. I'm more or less just in the moment and I'm catching up on stuff. But no, as far as content, as far as making content for new stuff, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. But I can tell you one thing: if you can get to the theaters in the next couple of days, we could definitely sit and discuss Sinners. That would be a cool discussion. I would love to see what your take is on that movie for the people who might see this at anytime
Let's think
soon.
about it. That's actually not a bad idea. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what my week looks like. You want to come out and see it again, or you want me to just go see it and then let's talk about it?
I already saw it twice now.
Twice. You did see it twice. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is one of those ones that as soon as I watched it, I knew I was gonna own it. It's gonna be in my house. I'm gonna buy the 4K Blu-ray. I'm gonna watch it in my theater a few times.
Right.
I'm gonna leave it alone for a few years and come back and watch it again. You know, just like Kingdom of Heaven, movies like that. Sometimes you see some shit one time and you know instantly, like, oh, this is
Right.
one of
That's
those.
one that's going to stick with me.
Yeah, this is
I
one.
I'm looking. I know what's going to take over my life here after the next. Well, not in the next 4 days. On the 24th, that Claire Obscure Expedition 33 comes out. It's
Okay.
day one on Game Pass. I don't know why it's itching me, but I might just go ahead and buy it on Steam. I don't know why I'm going to do that. I can't really justify it, except other than I just want it in my Steam library because that's where most of my games are. But it's free day one on Game Pass. But this shit just looks so dope, dog. I've just been like intaking all of the fucking.
Yeah, it looks like it's a very and it looks like it's going to be a very interesting story if they're able to pull it off.
I like the paintress thing, like everybody she paints the number, and after the year, everybody that gets fucking dusted after the number goes away. And
Yeah,
this is
I just started playing South of Midnight. 3 games I just started: Adam Fall, Avowed, and South of Midnight. Adam Fall, uh, I would say it's a very cool looking game with shades of Fallout. I mean, it's an obvious comparison. Um, South of Midnight, I like the story and I like the cutscenes. The gameplay was a little underwhelming where I am right now. I haven't unlocked a lot of powers and shit, but
so
for
maybe it gets
me,
better.
I'm assuming it does. But where I am currently, I was just like, oh, okay. I nothing. It didn't hit me like, oh shit, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like the first
Hmm.
time I came across the fucking bridge in Halo and shit, Halo Combat Evolved. Like the second I touched that game, I was like, I'm gonna be addicted to this
It's
franchise for the
it's
next 20
really
plus years.
it's hard to hit those notes anymore, though,
Yeah,
man. As we get older, it really
yeah,
is. But to me, for
sometimes,
some reason, like that Claire Obscure's got my attention like that.
yeah.
Like I'm giddy about it, like coming out. Like
But
it's been a while.
sometimes it happens. Sometimes it
Yeah, sure.
happens. We can't find those moments. Now, Avowed, it didn't strike me. It didn't
No,
strike you. It
it,
didn't. It didn't. There's more under the surface. I did go deeper into it. Start delving more into the combat. Uh,
the combat
leveling up.
was decent. It was like
No,
probably the most decent part of the game,
I
actually.
started leveling up, and it's not. My initial impression was slightly off, but it still doesn't grab me the way. Unfortunately, I'm still a bit of an addict to Starfield, and I hate that I am because Starfield seems to be on the same trajectory as the Avengers game, where they had a great gameplay loop. They put everything into, they front loaded it. Like everything is here, and then they did not support it the way that it should have been supported with DLC, new characters, new missions, new enemies, and shit like that. So eventually, the Avengers game went downhill because even though the gameplay was cool, it's like, okay, I got through the story. I played online a few times, but it's the same shit over and over again. And to be fair, nobody wants to do that. The only game deserves to be played over and over again ad nauseum without changing is fucking Pac-Man and Tetris. Anything
I
outside of that, you got to start like
You
Mario
gotta
has
start
been.
innovating,
Yeah, you got to add some new shit.
right?
So no, I feel like Starfield is on that same trajectory. I want to keep playing it. I keep going to the creator um, area of the game where they have the mods and stuff that you can download into the game. And it's never anything of interest. It's always the same shit. It's like somebody made a new hairstyle, somebody made a new outfit, somebody.
Nothing of substance.
It's
It's
nothing that actually changes
right.
the fact that I'm doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. I know that most of the planets are procedurally generated, but because it's procedurally generated doesn't mean that you can't dedicate a team of 10 to 15 artists to go on the side and add some custom things to go into the procedural engine to make it more varied and interesting when I go to these different planets. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, now the game that I love, that I've dedicated an
A
ungodly amount of time
disgusting
to.
amount of hours too, right?
Yeah, it's just nasty work. You see it right there. Jeremy made me that placard with at the time I was at more than 1,000 hours in that game, and I have more. I love it. I love the gameplay loop. I love all of that, but the content is lacking. So,
Right.
um, yeah. So hopefully we get something like that. Hopefully you find that in the 33 game that you were
Yeah.
just talking about.
Well,
Hopefully,
you made me think of some other stuff too that I heard about recently that I haven't really looked too much in detail on, but like I did watch some of the trailers and stuff for it. But like there's a whole modding community for that Baldur's Gate 3 that is
mm,
actually adding in and like coming up with they're adding in like full D&D like campaign modules
okay.
into the game, so you can load up like this. There's the most famous one they're adding is called the Curse of Strahd, which is like one of the most famous like D&D campaign, like pre-made campaigns you can go through. You know, you don't
Yeah,
have to make your own. And they're adding
yeah.
that into. It's so fucking and that's badass. The extent
That's
that these
dope as
people are
hell
going.
because they're giving you. You already had a preview because I know you loved that game as soon
I
as it
loved it.
came
Yeah,
out,
it was
and
fantastic.
now they add more shit to the game that actually adds to the gameplay
Well,
and the level
and
of enjoyment. Yeah.
and it's not even this isn't even official. This is outside of it. The people that made the game have they put all the development tools out there for the game, and now the modding community can make whatever they want basically. So it's like a modding community that's making this. It's like a team. There's volunteer artists. There's people that are working on it. It's basically all volunteer work. So it'll be cool to see there's already a couple of short ones that have come out so like whenever like there becomes a lull and I get bored, that's my go-to is I'm going to go back to Baldur's Gate
Hmm.
and go through and start some new characters and go through those campaigns. So that'd be interesting because I they already like Larian Studios, the team that created that game, they don't have the IP for D&D is gone. Like they're not going to be able to use that stuff going forward. So they can't make Baldur's Gate 4. Like that's not going to happen. So
Mm.
this was it. So they get to move on to some other stuff. I heard some rumors somewhere where they were teaming up possibly with Critical Role, which I'm a big fan of as well. So it'd be cool for them to make a game based on that world. I would be in instantly. If it's anywhere near the quality of Baldur's Gate, then yeah, we're in. That would be something special for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you might get lucky on that one. You have a more varied palette when it comes to video game type of entertainment. So for me, it's like
Well, and I
I got
also
time for like different genres of video game. Like I hate platformers now. I used to love them. Like I
I got to be in a
almost
certain mood.
like I can't play sports games anymore because I'm a
Trash.
Chicagoan and none of my teams actually could play anymore, and it's not fun when your team sucks ass.
You're right.
So I don't even want to play the game
Well,
because
and it's just repeated trash anymore. Again, they're not adding anything innovative to those games. Though they added
yeah,
gambling
that part.
mechanics to them is what they did, and trading
Yeah,
in the guise of trading card fucking things. It's horrible what's happened to sports games.
yeah. So nah, at the end of the day, no, you might be more lucky because, like I said, I'm still a huge racing sim and racing game fan, but I haven't had anything that was inspired in a very long time. Like
Well,
it's been
there's some crazy shit out there if you
Forza
really want to get into
Horizon,
like
Forza
simulations,
Horizon,
but like, yeah.
Forza, Forza 6 was the
Yeah.
last one that I
And
felt was head and shoulders above like the other shit.
to
But
me, I like having these dream like compilations. Like to me, like Larian Studios making a Critical Role game is like a dream come true. Like that's two favorite IP holders coming together and making something awesome. I have another example like that. I think they should do too. That Mythic Legions, that those characters I showed you that I collected at Comic Con. It's a toy line. It's a completely separate IP from anything. It's not based on anything. It's their own
okay,
shit. But like if they made to use the example again, like figures for Critical Role, or figures. Like their figures are fucking on point, dude. And if they started making even the Marvel figures would be cool. But I think that's exactly why they left and started doing their own thing, was because they got sick of dealing with IPs and their managers, basically.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's hope that works out for them in the long run.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that wraps this one up, man. And I don't know, we'll be back on whatever. I'm gonna be making some of that Expedition 33 content, and I'm sure we'll get together. We'll find something to watch. Sinners is a good idea, so we'll figure that out. Maybe I'll make some time to go see it this week, and we can
That'll
do a
work.
podcast on that. So other than that, like, comment, subscribe, talk to us about what you just heard, and if you have any predictions or anything you'd like to see, put them all down there, and we'll be more than happy to go back and forth with you guys on it. So
Yes, sir.
see you next time.
More.